This has had a lot of working titles, however I think I'm settling on Jesus Loves Your History. I like that title the best. Thank you, Trisan, for printing these for me. This is an excerpt from a book I wrote. I literally called it a book. I didn't give it a proper title. The 3 personal steps. The first one is forgiveness meetings. Forgiveness meetings. Forgiving and forgetting are 2 very different ideas, even where forgetting is unfathomable. Forgiveness is possible. Forgiveness is the healing ointment we dress our wounds with so we can continue on our paths towards more enlightened, happy, peaceful, loving lives. Forgiving our oppressors is not the same as forgetting what our oppressors have proven themselves capable of. If an abused, fearful, or hungry creature bites me, I forgive them, for they truly know not what or why they do. I do not forget what happens if I put my hand near an abused, fearful, or hungry creature's mouth. So, in order to facilitate forgiveness and healing, I propose starting forgiveness meetings. Forgiveness meetings. The process. A neutral place, preferably outside in nature, surrounded or surrounding our cherished elements, is needed. I recommend sitting in a circle around a tree or water source or neutral healing visual for all meeting guests. All attendees take turns verbally giving or affirming forgiveness to those who have knowingly or unknowingly caused us harm, pain, uncomfort, confusion, or any negative feeling we associate with whomever or whatever we need to forgive, in order to release ourselves from that painful memory, feeling, situation, etc. When someone hurts us, what is the one action we ourselves can do to stop the negative cycle? Forgiveness. What is the one action, the only action, that releases us from our own personal, internal, or external hells? Forgiveness. How do we express love in its purest form? Forgiveness without bias or exceptions. I'm having a hard time speaking this evening. Forgiveness is for the forgiver. To love oneself enough to forgive any and all transgressions committed personally or by another is the first and most important step in order to truly reach a position of love, personal happiness, and a universal peace. Forgive yourself and others. Otherwise, you will continue to suffer. Hurting yourself and those around you is not very attractive. All the dating apps in the world can't save you if you can't save yourself. Just breathe. Life is way too short and way too long. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. The rest is easy peasy. Now, there's 2 more emboldened things down there of a horrible camera, but they're right there. So this first one is forgiveness meetings, the second one is uncomfortable changes, and the third one is free cycling and free markets. They all have sections in another book I wrote. Forgiveness meetings. Part 1 is the introduction. I've edited this. It's on the website, JesusLovesYourHistory.com. So you can find the edited versions of the ones that I have so far, and you can also find a couple of chapters that I didn't put in this one, but I'm thinking of adding them in various spots. So, like the Mahjong chapter for Hank, it's not in this copy, but it is on JesusLovesYourHistory.com. And that's free. You can read whatever's on there for free. That's my gift to you. And my gift to myself, right? And my son. One 1.00 Forgiveness Meetings Part 1, the Introduction. It was a reflective ride. Noah had come a long way since he first found the book. From owning his own car and working from the church, to pushing his muscles to their string bean limits on a motorless bike and printing things for a living. Lots of uncomfortable changes. Feeling the wind on his face as he pedaled idly through the town back to his place was the only thing forcing him to relax despite himself. As he entered the apartment, he could feel the warmth and love. Noah was finally home, and this was his family. Hank was sitting at the kitchen table as Ash stood facing the kitchen counter making herself a cup of instant coffee. It was a surreal moment for Noah. The author of the book that changed his life was in his home, drinking his instant coffee and chatting with his houseless friend Hank. Hey, pal. Took you long enough. You'll be happy to know Ash knows her way around your kitchen already and made us dinner. Hope you like vegan. Hank spoke as if addressing someone known to him since birth. Noah wanted this moment to last forever, so in true to random form, Noah took a mental picture for years to come. I picture Hank as a very dude-like character. If you've ever seen the Big Lebowski, just has a dude energy about him for me. But when you read it on your own, you might see something completely different, feel something totally different. That's why I left the characters quite open, so people could fit it into what's relatable. You all right with aubergine? Ash stirred a bit of cinnamon and vanilla into Noah's pug mug, then took a seat at the left of Hank. Honestly, I have no clue what that even is. Noah had no problem admitting ignorance. He believed it saved everyone time and energy. Eggplant. Hank smiled as he took a sip of his jasmine tea. Couldn't you just see? Yeah. If you haven't seen The Big Lebowski, watch it and then come back to me. Noah remembered Hank spouting off at the free market about drinking coffee with them that evening in celebration, and Noah was not going to let it go for nothing. I thought you were going to have a coffee with us, Hank. Yeah, after dinner. Their response was surprising to Noah. Hank was never one to compromise, not even for a woman. I've heard about this, putting his body in motion, taking off Prince William's leash. Noah moseyed over to the kitchen table to join his company. This is what it must be like when hell freezes over. The three laughed, and Ash slid her fresh cuppa in front of Noah as a gesture of kindness and affinity for her new kindred spirit. So, Noah, I am curious. How did you come to find a copy of me book? Ash is Irish, by the way. I am not good with accents, and I just can't do it for you. I'm sorry. If this book sells 1,000,000 copies, we can hire somebody who's great with voices. Or a bunch of people, you know? Do an audiobook. Ash stood up and turned on the hot water kettle as she pulled out another mug. It was the one Mother bought him when she visited Greece. Noah contemplated her choice of words and coffee receptacle. I'm not sure you would approve of who I was when I happened upon your written words. Noah looked down at his coffee and then at the floor. Well, I'm not sure you'd approve of who I was when I wrote the feckin' thing, Ash smiled. Noah thought her Irish accent was entrancing, the bad words making her even more so. Noah shook his head. No, doubtful. True story. Ash raised her left hand and put her right on top of her coffee cup. Hypocrite to the maximum level. She finished pouring a new cup. She sat back down between her new friends. I am a firm believer that we preach what we need to learn the most. And then hopefully we learn the lesson before it's too late. See? Horrible. I'll try, but it's going to be painful. Hank was staying out of this one, refusing to give his young pal any hint or direction for what he should say or do. Alright, fuck it. If you really want to know. There was an internal struggle about where Noah felt like he should begin. Noah knew where he should start. But he was scared Ash would hate him, or at least never look at him the same. You tell me yours and I'll tell you mine. Ash winked. Picking up the perfectly rolled doobie from the center of the table, Noah lit it up and exhaled to light the embers without just setting fire to the paper. Every movement was a sign of growth and an ever-evolving young man. All right, here goes nothing. It was a dark and dreary night, and as usual, I was overdressed for the occasion. ... That's the introduction. If you don't like it, you can ask me if you can be an editor. And I may or may not like what you do. We'll see. I felt like after that kind of an introduction, I needed to put a Dear Reader in place. I am justifying my characters and my story. It's probably not necessary, but I will read it to you anyway for loyalty's sake to my efforts in writing it. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm tired. Dear Reader, before we dive into who Noah was and the roads he would take to get to where he ends up, which is where you find him with Hank and Ash, you need to be made aware of a few things. First of all, the moments leading up to Noah acquiring the book that would rock his proverbial world were probably some of his ugliest ones. Reaching his personal bottom is not pretty to watch. Apologies. However, without understanding his personal deconstruction, you will never fully be in a position to appreciate the beautiful being that is Noah. Like so many of us today, Noah finds himself lost and drowning in the societal web, constructed for us all, which we are told is for our own good. When he finally stops accepting his daily dose of social medicine and starts to pick up and examine the broken pieces of his socially acceptable life, well, I will let you decide if change was for the best. So without further delay, and as your self-appointed story guide, I have decided to soften the blow by recalling such a story from a mostly unbiased outsider's point of view. If you must still hate him, love him with that same blind passion. Balance has a way of keeping things in perspective, even if the two sides are sometimes found in the extremes. Kindest of regards, your devoted pendulum rider, AsC. 1.01 The Church Meeting. So when I first wrote this book, this was actually the first thing you would have read. All the other stuff in the beginning wasn't there. And it's a debate to see whether or not it added or retracted from it. So, here. Elijah's awake and teething, so I am going to stop there, and I will do another recording. Probably tomorrow, maybe. You never know with me. Alright, I love you. Remember, Jesus loves your history, no matter where you've come from, no matter what you've seen, or done, or felt. Jesus loves who you were, who you are, and who you will become. You just have to work on loving yourself, forgiving others, and loving others. Because there is God in all of us. I don't care what nationality you are, where you reside, what color you look like, what you sound like, what you feel like, what you smell like. I don't care. Jesus loves your history, and I love you too.